Welcome to Canada's famed Mosport Park for the opening round of the new era of SpeedVision GT Championship Racing. Hi everybody, I'm Greg Creamer along with Dorsey Schrader. This series, you think GT racing, you think endurance. Not so. It is high-intensity sprint class racing. And Dorsey, there's a new buzz. There's some energy here about what's going on in SpeedVision GT action.
Greg, you're really right. A lot of excitement in the paddock. You know, with the boost in prize money, out come the factory hot rods. They're all over the place. It's pretty cool. These 3 races that we have coming up are very, very important. Now, this is Mosport. It eats race cars. The mechanics have got to get these cars ready for 2 more weeks in a row. Driver's responsibility, don't tear up the hot rod. Easier said than done. We are at Mosport.
We are indeed at Mosport. Joining us here in the pits will be John Bizignano and Calvin Fish. And Dorsey mentioned the revitalization of the series and due in large part to manufacturer interest. With more on that, let's check in with Biz.
GT racing, Grand Touring racing, a huge point of pride for manufacturers. These are the cars that they think of as their muscle cars. They have more speed, higher power, bigger brakes, more aerodynamics, bigger tires. They want these cars to perform on the track and on the street. These cars are more competitive up front than any other class we've seen here this weekend. You have 7 different cars out of the top 8, 7 different manufacturers represented right up front. And for the story, right on pole position is Calvin Fish.
Not only do we have recognizable names from the manufacturer standpoint, but also from the driver standpoint. Starting on row 3 will be Bobby Archer. Pete Holzman's on the outside of row 2, and the wily veteran Bill Cooper starts from the pole. But the real surprise in qualifying was this man, George Biscop. He starts from the outside of row 2. You've got a lot of pro guys, a lot of experience around you, George. How do you feel?
Feel real good. This is, I was here 2 weeks ago testing. Richard Spinard really helped me with the Chicago Truck Center Porsche, and I think I got some tricks for the old guys.
Well, he certainly learned from the best. Richard Spinard knows his way around Mosport, and he starts from the outside of the front row in a Porsche 911.
Thanks, Calvin. Bit of a revelation, George Biscop. Let's take a look at the track, Dorsey. 2.5 miles and generally just one big challenge.
Pretty scary racetrack, Greg. This is one of those racetracks that is a driver's track.
All right, and of course, we got one of the great ones in the Legends of Motorsports BMW M3. Let's go around this course with Derek Bell.
Going down through turn 1, you've got to keep it in over that rough bit of track there. Been there since 1970 when I first came here. Very bumpy on the outside. Turn 2, the real blind brow as you come up into it. Take it steady going in. Get on that line on the inside, then let the car go out. Hoping it's going to come back in for the second part. Let it drift out to the outside. Then fairly hard on the brakes. Moment the tires are a little bit cold. And then get in for the second part on that bit of concreted bit. Hold it in because you want to get the power on all the way out. Down as we go into turn 4, into Moss Bend, who I'll be spending next Tuesday with, my idol, Sterling Moss. Up over the top, slowing right down for a very tight right-hander. Hit the curve a little bit, puts me out on the outside curve, can't be helped. Sweeping up in 3rd gear, 7,000 to 8,000. 4th gear as we start to go up this long hill. A very undulating circuit, pretty abrasive in places, and very rough in places, and a tremendous amount of bumps as well. Well, you can see a lot of brows coming up. Slow it down to 4th gear for this one. Flicking it through number 9, turn 9 as it's called. Woo. Hold it in a bit tight here. And there we are. A lap of Mosport Park, 2.49 miles.
Great look by Derek Bell at this track. Cars are heading out. Green flag will be coming up in just a minute. And welcome back to Mosport for round 1 of the SpeedVision GT Championship. Take a look on the onboards. That was George Biscop in the Porsche. Now we move back to the Toyota Super Turbo of David Sharp. Having a very strong weekend here. Pete Halsmer, one of the great racers in road racing competition, aboard the Acura. And then we're also going to go on board with Bobby Archer in the Dodge Viper. So got some great onboard shots for you. And right here is Paul Brown in one of the Celine Mustangs. So as you can see, we're going to take you deep into the field. And another great one is Reese Cox. This is the SCCA debut of the C5 Corvette in World Challenge competition. Alain Chabert driving the new and very exciting BMW M Coupe. And, of course, in the Legends of Motorsports car, you've already been on board with Derek Bell in the number 30 BMW M3. And there's another look of Derek you're going to get throughout the weekend here. And we're going to take a look at the BMW driver profile. It's the Legends of Motorsport BMW M3, born in '41, 5-time winner of the 24 Hours of Le Mans.
The track itself actually is very, very rough. It's very bumpy. And this little car, of course, lacks a little bit of power. We have about 300 odd against these big muscle V8s in front of me and all behind me. So as I go into the start of the race, it could be quite difficult because I won't be able to slingshot the corners the way I would like to if I was riding free, because I've got these other cars around me. And so therefore I could get held up, and then when we get to the hill, all the muscle cars will be able to go storming by me, and that's pretty frightening. So I don't know quite how I'm going to end up at the end of the first lap, although it's the end of the last lap that really matters.
So what he's saying, Dorsey, he needs to exercise a little patience, let the field sort out, and then get to work.
Well, what he said earlier was it's a very cold day. They got to get heat in the tires. You need heat in the tires for the corners, but you don't need heat in the tires for the straightaway. Muscle cars are going to beat up on him.
And, of course, this track has an awful lot of straight. Let's check back in with Derek Bell.
In the Porsche 911, the black car, he actually turned his car upside down last night, and he hasn't driven it since. And he struck me when I looked at him earlier, he looked a little bit nervous. I think I would, because although they spent hours, mechanics did a great job putting it together, he hasn't driven it yet. So I think he'll be a little tentative, and he could well hold up that left-hand side of the grid. I hope so, because I need a bit of a break through some of the corners. I'm right behind Bobby Archer, who I have a great respect for, and of course there's Pete Halsmer up there, and other young drivers that I haven't really contested against before. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to talk during this. And there might be some bad words as well.
He brings up a good point, obviously. There's some drivers he's not familiar with. Let's take a look at our Motel 6 starting grid. The Chevy Corvette of Bill Cooper on pole, George Biskup in the Porsche. Next to him, the Toyota Turbo of Dave Shart. Pete Halsmer in that Acura having a strong run. In row number 3, it's Bobby Archer in the Dodge Viper and Peter Kitchak in the Porsche 911. Row number 4 will give us Derek Bell in that Legends of Motorsport BMW and Paul Brown in the Saleen Mustang number 96. Row number 5, that's one of the C5 Corvettes, Reese Cox behind the wheel, and the Saleen Mustang of Bob Schieser.
Well, we've got a really, really tight competitive grid here and some really competitive race car drivers with a lot of experience, particularly up there in the front.
It's going to be very interesting indeed. A little bit further back, you take a look at row 7. That's Peterson and Barai. And row 8 is Kelly Bradley in a vet. And that is interesting. The other vet there that's being mentioned of White, he is a teammate to Reese Cox. He had some problems in qualifying further back. And John Heinrichs, you see no time. He's in one of the Motorola Cup cars.
Well, it's quite a wide variety of cars that fill this grid here today. You see a lot of different makes. I like to see that in racing. A lot of different things to look at.
All right, we are coming up to receive the green flag, get this opening round of the GT Championship underway. You got to wonder what's going through Derek's mind.
Right, we're slowing down now as we come around. It's about 500 yards to the start line. Not allowed to overtake until you get past that start line. Just hope everybody plays it cool for the first turn.
Well, one of the things he's worried about right now, he just said, everybody playing it cool through the first turn. You don't want to do some bumping and banging. This is maximum concentration right now for the driver. All these guys getting themselves in position, a very, very slow approach to the straightaway.
I was going to say, the onboards here, these cars are just crawling, Doris.
Well, I like slow starts, particularly here at Mosport, because turn 1's quite quick, and you don't need on cold tires be getting down there at 100 miles an hour. I'd rather do it at 50 if I could on the first lap.
Well, particularly that turn 1 and 2 complex here, it's nice to be able to ease into that when the tires are a bit cool. As we pointed out, it is chilly here today. It's going to take a little bit. Now, the back of the field anyway starts to roll into it a little bit through that last turn, turn 10. And Biskup doing a nice job of staying parked right on the left shoulder of Cooper. And watch for it. Now they get into it. And we are green. Round 1 of the SpeedVision GT Championship is underway. And down into the first turn, look at Heinrichs down to the inside.
Yeah, way back in the back there, you saw the Pontiac and Heinrichs over by the pit wall, overtaking there. This is turn 2, very slippery. Look, that's Paul Brown, I believe, in the Mustang, has gotten by Derek Bell right there in turn 2.
That's just what Derek said, was the horsepower was going to hurt him early until he can start start to work the angles of the corner and carry the momentum. And Cooper got a great start. Doors starting to open up a little bit.
Yeah, and he isn't on the straightaway. He's in the corner, so that's not looking good for the guys with less horsepower.
Come on, man. Come on. Get with it. Get with it.
That was Dave Sharp in the Super Turbo right there. He's talking to himself. That's him mentally psyching himself. He's going, come on, man, get this thing going. And he didn't know we were listening in there, I don't think.
I think you're absolutely right. And Heinrichs continuing his early lap charge as well. Not a surprise he's running very quick early, but a bit of a surprise that he's even racing here, Cal.
A late entry in today's race is the number 37 of John Heinrichs. He ran in the Motorola Cup race here on Saturday, and he's entered the Pontiac Firebird in the hope of scoring some valuable points. He will be campaigning a Chevy Corvette a little bit later in the series, and he's looking to score some points here today to start that campaign off.
Well, Dorsey, watching the way he's going, he's doing a heck of a job in a Pontiac. That's Bell, and he looks like he's trying to move on him.
He moved on him, all right. Got right underneath him there. That was turn 9, right before you get to the straightaway. Look, makes another move. John Heinrichs, very aggressive on the opening laps.
Boy, 2 cars in the turn 9 and 10 complex alone. Heinrichs is on the prowl. Look at this. Biscop now moves to the inside of Chart. Chart tries to stay put on the outside. Boy, that's dicey in turn 1. He's got to give it away. Oh, he's coming right back now on the outside of Biscop.
Yeah, he's coming back. I don't know if that'll stick, though. Not right there. No, it doesn't stick. You see Biscop right back there. A couple of turbocharged cars there. You got to watch getting on the throttle. Wheel spinner there. I'll get you too loose.
Right behind them, you see the red Acura of Halsmer and the blue Viper of Archer. Those 4 cars, 2nd through 5th, very close indeed. Cooper, that little bit of a gap up front.
Well, you look at the Viper back there. It's going to be, its forte is going to be later in the race. I think straightaway speed. Look, he beat him up on right now on Pete Halsmer in the NSX. That's a good handling car, but it's not going to have the straightaway speed of that Viper.
So the key for Archer is coming out of this hairpin. Moss Corner, the launch onto that mile-long flat-out run up into turn 8. Well, we got 2 of the 28 laps done. There's your running order. We'll be back. That's only about halfway up that straight. That's how powerful that V10 is. Now the Acura starts to spool up. Then they get into the twisty bits, and Halsmer will no doubt come at him. Smoke behind. Biscop. No, that's not. That's Kitchak having problems.
Big smoke out of the back of the Porsche. Oh, look at it. It's going to get all over the windscreen now. Paul Brown's not liking to do very much at all. I think we'll be seeing him turn for the pits right here because that car is up in smoke.
And there he goes. So Peter Kitchak heads down into pit lane. And obviously Paul Brown's got some visibility problems to deal with. Kitchak's problems far more serious. He is heading down pit lane, and this does not look good at all. Let's go down to Cal. He's there.
Okay, the Porsche 911 of Peter Kitchak brings it in. A lot of smoke coming from the back end of that car. It's a rear-engine car, obviously, and the crew is looking underneath. There's a real strong oil smell. He's obviously lost an oil line. He's had troubles all weekend. The crew thought they had it straightened out for the race today, but a lot of oil coming from the back end of the car right now.
Dorsey, that is a lot of smoke coming from the back of that machine.
Yeah, major oil leak, I would think. It's not coming out the exhaust pipe, so it must be an oil leak. They're looking at the top of the motor right there.
All right, back up front as we take a look at our first Porsche field summary in the upper left-hand corner. You can see that the Porsche of Mr. Biscop has closed back in on Cooper. We have a 5-car battle for the lead.
Yeah, big battle in there. Cooper was up on the curb there. Now everybody drafting. Everybody look at that Viper. Viper's taking a look at the Toyota. He's alongside. This is where the muscle comes in right here.
And also, Dorsey, they are heading now into that turn 8, 9, and 10 complex. That Kitchak oiled pretty seriously. Going to have to see if that's going to be a problem for these guys. Oh, Halsmer has dropped off noticeably as well. And here we go. Look at that little wiggle there from Biscop. Ooh. And problems were on board with Dave Sharp. Let's listen.
Oh, my God, it's slippery. I'm all right, though.
I think he was letting his crew know that he's in for a long afternoon. We'll be right back. Back at Mosport, Cooper continues to lead. Biscop, there's Chart, there is Archer. And before we went to break, we saw Halsmer starting to fall off a little bit. He has lost touch with that group completely. And there, he is heading down into pit lane. So his problems apparently fairly severe. He's heading right at John Bizignano. Biz?
Well, car number 62 has arrived in the pit. He was reporting a flat tire. At the moment, the crew on the microphones could not hear exactly which tire it was. They've got all 4 ready to go. They're also checking the steering on the car. I can't see a flat tire, but he's definitely having some handling problems. He's not happy with the steering. And at Mosport, that's not a problem you want to have, guys.
Not at Mosport, that's for sure. On board with Paul Brown. Look at the oil on the windshield. Remember, he got caught up behind Kitchak down into turn number 4, and he's exiting. Oh, there's some smoke down there. Derek's behind Brown. Let's listen in.
Another car off. Car in 4th place, just stuffed in the tyre well. Locked the brakes up coming into 4A. Right in the tyres he is. Must concentrate.
And it was Heinrichsey, Dorsey. He had that awesome run early, and it's all gone away on him.
Well, he was pushing pretty hard, trying to get to the front. Locked up a brake there. You heard Derek Bell say he locked it up, put it into the guardrail. That's a gravel trap right there, and he appears to be stuck.
Now, in theory, that car being a Motorola Cup car is not going to be on the pace of the GT cars, so he was probably driving a little over its potential, maybe.
Well, we saw that for sure, and nobody told him it wasn't supposed to be on the pace. He was doing it, but look at the left front corner is really been mangled. He's gotten into the guardrail pretty hard. Backing up now, that'll probably get him out of the gravel. Yep.
And Dorsey, Pete Halsmer back on track, but doesn't look to be on the pace. Oh, here come the leaders coming up on him in turn 2, and Archer is now up into 3rd. He has made the pass on Chart as they work through turn 2. Let's go back and take a look at just where Archer was able to make that move. He's working on Biscup. Here's the pass of Chart.
The Viper just drove by both of us down the back street.
Of course, that's Chart telling his crew what's happened. The Viper with the big horsepower there, he's at that very close proximity right there.
But made it clean, and now look at the Viper of Archer. Just got the run out of Moss again and has just moved by and easily by Biscup.
Yeah, that's that big V10 uphill, a lot of torque in that motor, and that's what you want right here on this racetrack is big torque.
All right, and here comes John Heinrichsey. Look at the mess on that car. Let's check in with Cal.
Well, one of the problems John Heinrichsey may have had is really transitioning over from the tyres he ran yesterday to today. It's a BFG spec tyre they're running on here, obviously. But yesterday he ran some Hoosiers, and it's obviously going to change the handling characteristics and probably the grip level in these cold conditions.
And look at that. There's the leaders coming into turn 8 trying to work by Heinrichsey. You see a car limping and spewing parts, Doors. That's got to be just a bit spooky.
Yeah, it scares you because that tire's shredding up and the wheels rubbing on the ground, so pieces of steel and aluminum are getting on the racetrack, and you're worried about getting a flat.
Cooper out of turn 10, and once they're clear of traffic, it looks like he's got a little bit here, and he's opened it up on Archer again.
Yeah, Cooper doing a really good job right there, but I saw last time Archer really worked this Viper down through this section of the racetrack, particularly turn 2.
Oh, and Heinrichsey, he has now made it down into pit lane, and you can see the left front corner of that car is just a mess, Calvin.
Well, there's a real mess to the left front. The problem is with the changeover to the different tires, they don't have any spare tires and wheels, so Heinrichsey's day will be done. You can see the left front completely shredded as he made his way back to the pits.
Well, I'm not sure he's going to make it any further than the pit, Dorsey. That looks pretty bad.
Yeah, left front wheels bent pretty bad. Fenders tore up. I don't think he's going to be back very good.
All right, but there's more activity a little bit further down pit lane. Let's go back down to Biz.
Well, car 62 is back in. They've just shut off the motor. He made a quick stop earlier. They went and tried to change some tires for him, and they said, no, the tires are not the problem. But now they're looking at that left rear. The camber is way off on it. He definitely has a suspension problem underneath there. It could be terminal this stop, guys.
Well, and we're back on board with Archer, but he talks about problems to the suspension. Can certainly feel a little squirrely, like a tire going down, I suppose.
Yeah, if you got a wheel bearing or something like that that's coming apart, it'll start squirming around like a low tire at the back end of the car wheel. So I think that's probably what they got going on.
All right, Archer now trying to close back in. Looks like he has a little bit on Cooper. In fact, he's drawn away from Biscup and has taken a run at Cooper through 9 here into turn 10, completing another lap here. Whoa, big power slide by Bobby.
Well, I just said I saw Archer really working the car really hard in turn 2, and how he's working it really hard up there in turn 10. But he is on the prowl, if you will, right now. He's trying to chase down Cooper.
On the prowl in a Viper, if you will.
There you go.
All right, this has not been the easiest weekend, though, for Bobby Archer and the Viper Speed team. They have really struggled and had to persevere us through some trials and tribulations, Cal.
Well, Bobby Archer actually had an engine problem on Friday, guys. They had to drive all the way to Detroit, pick up a fresh engine. They worked until 5 o'clock this morning to fit that engine. It's obviously given him the performance he needed on race day.
And doing very competitively. We're back on board with Archer, and he has caught Cooper all over him down into Moss.
Now watch, Moss. This is a very important corner. Cooper looks to the inside. Actually, not Cooper, but Archer looks to the inside. Over the curb. That's not a good way to get a launch on the straightaway. He's being very aggressive, however.
And of course, all of that looks like it's allowed both Biskup and Chart to reel him back in again.
Yeah, that wasn't real fast way to do that, you know, jumping over the curb and stuff. You want to put power down, and B10's hard to do that with anyway.
And it looked as well like Cooper being a little bit defensive. That's not the fastest way around, and that tends to compress the whole field, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is a neat shot from David Chart. You see these three master cylinders on the right, two of them for the brake, one of them's for the clutch. See the fluid all pushing around in there with the G-forces are pulling to the corner.
Boy, and this is where it is so slick in this section of track, too.
Yeah, that's courtesy of Kitchak, of course, when he lost that motor up there. That's a cold day and oil on the track. That's not much fun.
All right, and Chart onto the front straight, heading once again down into turn one. A little bit further behind this group is Derek Bell. Let's listen in.
Starting another lap, down into turn one. Very slippery, take it easy, boy. It seems to get more slippery every lap. I suppose that's normal. Take it up into turn two, very slippery little corner. Everybody's been going off there, let's hope I don't join them.
Well, you see the debris and probably some rubber on that camera lens. He's got that on the windshield. It's going to be busy. We'll be back. Back at Mosport, Cooper, Archer, Biskup, and Chart. That's the lead group of four. They're pretty much out on their own right now. And once again, Cooper has been able to find a little bit of room. Dorson is drawn away from Archer.
Yeah, but it's kind of a seesaw battle. Like, I think the Corvette's better in some areas of the racetrack. All the drivers, including Derek Bell, talking about the oily surface. So I think everybody's just nip and tuck right now.
Let's go back here and watch the battle between Scotty White and the Corvette C5 and the Legends of Motorsports BMW of Derek Bell. They are working through the turn 8, 9, 10 complex. That's Terry Lackey right behind them. He runs a little wide there, and now he's going to show the nose, but you got to be up a lot closer than that in turn 10 to make a pass, Doris, don't you?
Yeah, poor Derek's in the middle of a Corvette sandwich, and this is a slippery racetrack. Right down in here, we heard Derek talking about turn 1 and turn 2 being pretty slippery. So the BMW, a better handling car, as you see it right there, should be really good right here. Look, there's a guy pointing everybody by. He's going to let all the leaders go by, but he's not letting them go to the outside, inside like we saw Halsman.
That's the outside of 2. That's dicey. Somebody's off in front of Derek.
Scotty went out. Scotty went out too wide. He's on the tingle, on the dirt. My God, that slowed the rest behind me a bit. So he went by me in the Corvette, went down inside that other guy, but just turned in too late.
Well, you know what happened right there? That guy, the lap car, pointed everybody by, but he didn't go to the outside like Halsman did. He went to the inside. They went on the outside. The Corvette got into the dirt. You heard Derek call it, and out he goes.
What is the tingle, Dorsey?
Well, he felt the tingle, I guess, of the well, look right there. You see that's already happened. He's gone off the outside of the racetrack into the gray area. You can actually start hearing pieces of the rock and the rubber out there start bouncing off the bottom of the race car before you take the exit.
Here's another look at it. You can see, boy, he just run wide, you get up in the marbles, and you're gone. Maybe that's the tingle.
Yeah, well, I mean, you hear that stuff banging around on the bottom, and you do get a little tingle because it's your body telling you you're about to take a ride. We see this happening.
Boy, long slide, did well to not get into any of the tires or whatever, and as he came back on, he dropped a little bit down, but everything's okay. And whoa, Cooper and Archer both giving it the wiggle.
Boy, I tell you, slippery racetrack, and these are high horsepower cars. Both guys broke loose at the exit of that corner, really spun the tire. Look at the Corvette twitching around up there. Cooper's car very, very loose.
Let's check in with Dave Chart.
There's all over this track.
Well, there you have it, right from the driver's mouth.
They need to do something about it.
Now, what he's doing right there, Greg, he's telling his pit crew to get to one of the guys in the pit lane, one of the officiating workers, and say, hey, this thing's really dangerous out here. We want something done about it. That's one way a driver can tell the crew chief to get in somebody's ear.
All right, what would they do? I mean, they have to go full course yellow or something like that to clean that up. Or would the officials be willing to do that as we take a look, by the way, at our Porsche rundown?
Well, they probably won't want to do that, actually, because it would break up the race too much. But these guys are slipping and sliding pretty darn bad. We see all these high horsepower cars really twitching in the corners.
Cooper, though, twitching better than anybody as he's made good an escape again, and he may luck out here. See if this Mustang, no, the Mustang turns across Archer. That's exactly what Cooper wanted to see, and Archer gets held up. He's going to try on the outside.
Outside nice of an oily corner, too, and I saw back there the slick flag. I saw there's another one right there in the corner worker's hand. That's an oil flag, as if they didn't know already.
Yeah, they've been pretty much chatty about that with the crew chiefs. That's the Mustang of Pierre Barai that they just lapped having some problems. And there's your battle. Second, third, fourth. There's a good look at Dave Shard in the Toyota. And he is all over Biscuit, Dorsey.
Oh, look at this. Outside of turn one, everybody is off the racetrack. That oil, that was close.
Biscup dropped all four wheels, and Shart was right behind him. Was that just a case of Shart focusing on Biscup's bumper and following him off the track?
Well, they might have just slipped in the oil, but I tell you, that was a great save by both drivers. That's a hairy place on the outside to be out in the grass. Forget about it.
I also saw Biscup doing some sort of hand signal back to Shart when they both got on the track. Perhaps it was wiping the brow and going, whew, we made it. Yes, this is a dicey place.
Oof, I tell you what, these guys look what's happened. Bob Schieser has wrecked the Mustang right in the oily area. Look at the skid marks on the road. It's been a big hook slide. I think we'll find that he was very loose coming to that corner, and it got away from him and has impacted the concrete wall.
And wisely, he's staying put in that car. You can see he's looking over at the corner workers there, and they're probably telling him, hang on a sec till we get the field under control here. I would think this is going to have to bring out a full course yellow in his location. I mean, that's the track out point at 9.
Yeah, and it's in an oily area, and I can see the front end's pushed into the tire, so it's not going to roll very well. Otherwise, he'd be trying to get out of there. We'll take a look at the replay. This isn't the car here, but look right here. Full opposite lock. It's going to hook on him. Watch it. Back end's going to catch, snaps it to the right, straight into the concrete wall. And look who's right there. Derek Bell is almost going to hit that car.
Let's go on board with Derek. Watch it right in the middle of the windshield to the right there, and boom, and he's coming right back at him. That has to make a driver very nervous indeed.
Boy, I tell you what.
Wow, that was unbelievable. Everybody was just everywhere.
Well, if it had Dave involved, Derek must have been really nervous about it.
No, what really happened back there was there was so much oil, and they'd already had the oil flags out. So you weren't to tell the intensity of the oil until you actually got into the corner. And it had been there for the whole race, basically, since the Porsche blew up. But it must have got worse with somebody else dumping on, and it wasn't the Corvette, because he's parked here on the hill on the right. So it was somebody else was spraying oil. There's the pace car in front. So there's somebody else who was spraying the oil. And of course, you're not to know that it's got worse, because they don't put double yellows out when there's a surplus of oil laid on the track.
So Derek able to sneak through with that car looping it there, and we are full course yellow indeed here at Mosport during round 1 of the SpeedVision GT Championship. Here's your current top 5. 10 of 28 laps are gone. Welcome back to Mosport. Still yellow for the Bob Schieser incident. We were going to go green, but it was waved off, Doris.
Yeah, and I'll show you why it's waved off here, too. Look at Cooper. He's got a quarter-mile lead. There's the starter up there. He's saying, no way. It's not going to happen this start.
Hell no, man. Cooper jumped the start.
Shart saying the same thing.
Yeah, Shart was a green complete. We're about to go green. Let's go to Derek.
We're coming up now toward the chicane. So I get down to second gear, so I'm ready to give a charge out. Cooper hasn't struck away this time. He's taking it quite easy.
And here we go, but boy, Archer stayed right with him, and Cooper did the only thing he could. He moved center track, but Archer's got a run on him.
Yeah, he does to the outside. I don't think that'll work. Not on a slippery racetrack anyway. If they had a good racetrack, maybe he would have tried that, but not with this oil out here.
Cooper realized, I think, he didn't have a jump, and he went pure defensive mode, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, but I'll tell you what, I'm sure they had a talking to Cooper and told him, don't try to do that again. Don't try to jump that start, or we'll bring you in. So he was very conservative.
Boy, Biscup running way wide right in front of Shart. Shart, oh, a little save there.
These guys happen to do a lot of driving per mile, more than the usual here at Mosport with that oil out there.
Saving it all over the place through turn 3. And now Cooper starting to edge away just a little bit. And we're going to give you the margin here from the leader, Cooper, back to, there's Derek Bell in the Legends of Motorsport car with Scott White right behind him.
Derek's done a good job. He's got himself way up from where he qualified at. Here we are in the Moss corners. You see how bumpy it is through there.
Right on turn in there, Scotty White getting a good run. And boy, Derek really watching those mirrors.
Yeah, he better be watching those mirrors. He wants to see if he's going to get punted or not. Corvette giving him not very much room through there.
And Bell's still in that Corvette sandwich you alluded to earlier. He's got 2 in front, 1 behind. But I'm impressed, boy. They start coming down that Andretti straightaway, and those vets don't have anything for the Bimmer in the straight line.
Well, Derek would like to be up underneath that Corvette to get a little bit of a tow, but he's under pressure. He's in a Corvette sandwich right there for sure.
And nice move by Terry Lackey as he worked around Dennis Peterson in the blue and white vet. That's now right in front of Bell, and in that corner, Bell closes in. Back up front, Cooper continues to lead. and Archer has drifted backward just a little bit. But boy, he gets out of turn 10 and down into 1 very strongly indeed. And Bobby Archer continuing to do everything he can to hound Bill Cooper. And he gets squirrely again. Boy, Biz, Archer's working hard.
Well, I'll tell you something about Bobby Archer. We've heard that he hasn't had that much time in this car at this track. Historically, that's never bothered him. Last year, he showed up in Grand Rapids, Michigan in a brand new Viper that had never turned a wheel and finished 7th. His team says that he's comfortable in the car, he's comfortable in the track, and he's going to be charging very hard at the end.
Well, and of course, Dorsey, Bobby Archer started his racing career ice racing on frozen lakes, so I would think on a slippery track, Archer would feel more comfortable than most others.
Well, he's using all the car, no question about that. You see that thing power sliding off corners, he's running over curbs. He is on the charge big time.
Trying to apply as much pressure to Mr. Cooper as he can. And there we are, back on board once again with David Shart. The long run up the Andretti straightaway. We'll be back with more from Mosport right after this. Action continuing, and there is Shart. You'll notice a little bit of something flapping there. That looks just like one of the rubber seals, isn't it, Dorsey?
Yeah, it's just a hood seal that's come up. The hood's flopping around, and it's got out of there. It's not going to bother anyone.
There's a good look again at Terry Lackey driving the vet and having really a pretty solid day, continuing to fend off Derek Bell as we look at the Porsche rundown on the upper left there. And again, boy, Lackey really pretty strong. A little wide there, misses the apex, but looks like he gets a pretty good launch.
Come on, Derek, oh boy, get him.
Derek Bell continuing, and yeah, it was Scotty White looked a little bit loose as well. He's losing touch with Derek Bell and Lackey at this point. And boy, the new C5 vet, Reese Cox having a strong run, but Scotty White struggling just a little bit.
Yeah, he is losing a little bit of ground there to Derek and certainly to Lackey.
That is pretty much out of pocket effort for that team. Very independent right now, and they are trying to really massage that C5 into competitive form. Here's a great battle for 8th right now. That's John Kohler and Gary Smith running in the 2 Zippo Mustangs, and of course they're Motorola Cup cars that are just trying to get their feet wet here in SpeedVision GT action, and they're going to work on those cars, get them a little bit more competitive. And then Dennis Peterson, who's been having some problems as well, and I believe that's Pete Kitchak, who's back out but well off the pace. Then Walter Swick is in that mix as well in that blue BMW. There's a good look at Dennis Peterson. He's been a long-time SpeedVision GT competitor in the World Challenge Dual Series, if you will. But there's Gary Smith, and there's 74 Kohler, and they are 2 front runners in the Motorola Cup. It would be great if they can get these cars competitive and run the full season. That's their plan.
Well, they're running as a team, and I would doubt that they're going to let anybody get by them very easily. Both, ooh, look at the twitch on that. It's still pretty oily out there, Greg.
Well, Calvin alluded to that a little earlier. These new BF Goodrich radials, the shaved street tires that they're running, they don't run those in the Motorola Cup, so they're really learning a lot of different setups, I would imagine, on the car.
Yeah, there's the BMW Coupe, Alan Shabir. First time we've seen that car on the racetrack.
And again, that's one that they are working on to bring it up into competitive form. And you've got to believe, oh, Peterson, who looked like he'd settled into things, having a good run. And Dennis Peterson down in turn number 5. That's Moss Corner. And Doris, that looks like a little too much entry speed.
Yeah, he got in a little hot, got a little wide of his apex, got in the marbly stuff there, and of course, no grip. Around he goes.
Well, he's back on track. Pretty quick recovery for Dennis Peterson. He'll try and settle. Oh, and Lackey's up right in front of Derek Bell.
Whoa. There he goes. He's locking those rear wheels up somehow. I got by him. He locked up and spun off.
It has been an eventful day for Derek Bell. Lots going on in front of him.
Boy, he's right in the wrong place a lot. He's been lucky so far, though. He said it locked up the rear brakes. Of course, that'll spin the car right out, so he must have too much rear brake bias on the Corvette. We'll look at a replay here. It's already happened. Spin early in the corner. Puts around. There goes Derek right by there. All this action right in his face, if you will.
And all the work that Lackey had done to get by Scotty White and then Bell, and now he's back behind Scotty White, so he has got all that work cut out for him again. But he's got a lot of race yet to do it in. And the way he's running, you'd think he'll be able to pick up a couple of spots anyway. Great crowd on hand here at Mosport as usual. 21 of 28 laps are done. We are back at Mosport, and as you can see, Bill Cooper now easing away from Archer, Biscup, and Chart right there. There's your Porsche leaderboard after 22 of 28 laps. That's about as big a gap as Cooper has had over Archer. You can see from the onboard, Archer can't even see him at this point. Calvin Fish is down in the pits with Archer's crew.
Mike Archer's been drafted in for the weekend to help out here. What's the handling like right now on the Viper?
Well, you can see it a whole lot earlier in the race. He said it's a little loose. We didn't have a whole lot of time to work with the Viper over the weekend. We had a couple of problems being a new car for this race. And we just didn't get a whole lot of time to dial the chassis in like we'd like to. We didn't get enough time to spend with shock absorbers and tires, all of the above. But he's doing a good job driving the Viper, and hopefully we'll come home farther up than we are right now.
Well, and he's got to work by some lap traffic, and that's going to cost him a little bit. Although, boy, did he get a run on Cooper.
No, I think
something's wrong, Doris.
Yeah, Cooper's in trouble. The car slowed dramatically coming out that corner. He's just been passed now. The Viper taking the lead is in big trouble. Corvette is in big trouble.
There's Biscup, and now Chart. Yep, there's Cooper, and Cooper is not on it here. He's trying to drift over and protect, but I think Chart, he's alongside anyway. They're into 8. Boy, Dave Chart willing to brave it out around the outside of 8. But Cooper, you don't lose that much ground in that short a chunk of track without having something wrong.
No, I saw him start to pull off to the right. He got out of the line, and something on the Corvette has broken or is breaking because he is slowing.
Boy, he is not getting out of that turn 10. He didn't get out of that very strong either.
Look at the heat coming out from under around that thing. I don't know what's wrong with it yet, but most certainly that car is going lame.
It is really starting to lose any kind of power it had. There's Archer now finding himself in a rather fortunate lead after falling as far back as he had been in this one. Suddenly he gets the gift. He's up front, but he still has some huge pressure from Biscup.
I tell you what, late in a race like that, it's really hard. You see Cooper fall out of the race, and it's really a tough deal. But these guys have been driving like crazy the whole race, and oil and so forth. But just to have something break on your car is disheartening.
Cooper slipped back to 4th. We'll see if he's going to be able to figure out what's going on and hang on to it. Meanwhile, Archer, Biscup, and Chart now running 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and well clear of everybody else. And Cooper must be heartbroken. Calvin, do you have any idea what's wrong?
Well, Keith Severe is the crew chief on Bill's car. What's the problem out there?
Well, it seems the clutch went away. We don't know if it's slipping or if it's stuck in gear. Heck of a job anyways. Bill's done a wonderful job with this Les Stanford Corvette, and we're real happy to be here with them. And I hope the crew's real proud of what they did and gave it a heck of a run.
Well, they did that, Dorsey. I mean, he was extremely strong. It looked to be getting better later in the going. That's a sign that that car works very well.
Yeah, it's a tough way to go out, but like they always say, you know, it's not over till it's over. This one's not over yet.
And you can see Biscup thinks so too from the view from Dave Chart. Biscup all over the curbs in turn 10, trying to run down Archer, and he's pretty close. There's Chart, and it's really just down to these 3 right now through turn 1. But boy, Archer, because Biscup got up on that curb in 10, look at the gap Archer was able to gain.
Yeah, you throw it all out now. You know, you're right down to the last couple laps, whatever you got. You don't hold anything in reserve. You really got to drive the car hard now. You see right there's Cooper. He's still running, but he's dropping back considerably.
Yeah, he's obviously just going to try and nurse that car home to a finish of some sort, but there's the gap already. The white car coming through too is Cooper. He's still 4th, but he is plummeting in terms of time and distance in a huge hurry. Meanwhile, Archer seems to have been able to respond to Biscup and has drawn away a little bit. Chart, again, we're on board with Dave, and he closes up. Oh, real squirrely.
Boy, had to let go of the wheel there because he saw his hand go up in the air. He got a real big slide right there coming out of Moss Corners. That didn't help the situation at all. You see, he lost ground right there to Biscup.
Well, any loss of momentum in Moss Corner, since it leads onto that long straight, has got to be absolutely just catastrophic in terms of speed.
You know, you're right about that. We had 5 different makes in the top 5 before. Now, you know, that's what the manufacturers want to see for sure. I'm really surprised that this Viper isn't stronger up the straightaway, but these guys hanging tough.
Well, is it possible that Bobby Archer... Oh! Terry Lackey just went off and hit the tires a ton, Doris.
Well, that's the outside of turn 1, I think, Gray. That was a big, big impact. I can't tell yet. There's the skid marks going off.
I think that's turn 3.
Yeah, it could be turn 3, as a matter of fact.
You enter that corner with a fairly good head of steam, and I don't know, you don't see the tire marks look like he just went straight off.
Yeah, they've gone from a long way back to, you see him way back in the braking zone. Looks like maybe he locked up front tires and never released or modulated, and lost his steering because of that. We see now, here he comes out. Oh yeah, he's not happy about that whole deal, but he's okay. He's got out of the car on his own power.
And there is Terry Lackey, and obviously he's got to be a bit frustrated. We saw the reaction when he got out of the car, and he had been as high as 5th, and then of course had that early moment, slip back a little bit. And in a discussion with one of the corner workers there, first of all, it's great to see that Terry's okay. That was a substantial hit.
Boy, big time hit, and this might in fact end the race. This might give it to Cooper. Take another look here. Oh, he's already off the racetrack. You see his skid marks going straight into the tire wall. A lot of speed on. Car climbs the tire wall and the hill, rolls over, and looks like it's going to get back on its wheels, but refuses to do so and falls right back on its roof.
Let's take a look at one more angle on it, Dorsey. Might give us more of a clue as to here it comes.
Yeah, this is the brake zone right. There's the right front tire locked totally up. Look at the left front. He modulated once, but it's too late. He's in the grass. Now he's locked up. No stopping this heavy car. And wow, big impact.
A lot less friction and grip in the grass once you're off the speed, isn't it?
Yeah, there's no way you're going to stop once you get off that grass. It's something else. And there's the medical doctor coming to make sure everything's okay. Boy, you know, they'll never clean that tire wall up in one lap, I don't think. I think Mr. Cooper might inherit a win here.
So you're saying, yeah, it looks like we might well finish under yellow. That's going to be a long cleanup. But again, the most important thing here is that Terry is okay. Chatting with Dr. Ron Chrome, the SCCA medical director, making sure he's okay. That's a tough way to go out late in the going after running very competitively indeed. We are under full course yellow. Just about a lap and a half to go. We'll be back. We are back at Mosport and just 2 corners to go, now 1, and Bobby Archer is going to claim the win because they could not get the incident cleared up, and there's the checkered flag. And Dorsey, I think Bobby's going to take it.
Yeah, no way he's not going to take it because he's behind the pace car. You can't pass that, and nobody can pass him.
They had a tough weekend getting to this point. This is sweet reward indeed. You've got to believe it. Let's take a look at our full field results. Archer over Biscup, Shart, Cooper, and Bell hangs in there in 5th. And Dorsey, the manufacturer variety is excellent.
Yeah, look at the manufacturers up there. Chrysler wins it. Porsche comes in 2nd. Toyota 3rd. We got BMWs. We got Fords in here. Chevrolets in here. We've got Acura. It's a full field.
Yep, Terry Lackey hangs on to 14th even with the crash. Scotty White there as well. See Halsmer, his problem still 16th, and Schieser shown with a finish in 21st is Mr. Bradley. And Bobby Archer, again, when we talked to his crew chief, Mike Archer, his brother, they were just amazed they were able to even get to the race. And then to have a win like this is special. Let's go down to Cal.
Bobby, great performance out there. A little bit of a surprise to see you win this event, bearing in mind how many laps you had on the racetrack this weekend.
Well, you know, we came here to win, and we thought that this would be a track where the Viper would excel, and we were wrong. I couldn't catch the Corvette, and all of a sudden he just pulled off and waved me by, and I said, thank you. And I just had to keep the Porsche and the Toyota behind me, but it was a handful. You know, if we had about 50 more laps, I'd like to change the car a little bit.
George Biscup, it seemed like that Viper just had a little bit too much power for you down these long straightaways.
It did. We had about the same amount in the straightaways or in the curves, but the straightaways he just had too much power. Absolutely.
Now you have a big smile on your face when you told me about going to Lime Rock, a Porsche track.
Yeah, it's going to be a great show in Lime Rock. We're looking forward to it in 1 week.
Dave Shot in the Toyota, great performance. Looked like good battle up front.
Yeah, we were running real close. I think we were probably running identical lap times. I would have liked to seen the green finish. It would have been interesting.
Well, the finishing order always after round 1 is the points order, and that's Archer, Biscup, Cooper, Shart. Now, you'll note Gary Smith is 5th. That's because the Legends of Motorsports car does not score points. Derek Bell was 5th, though, and he's with Biz.
It was very hard, and once I actually flew in a corner, I forgot to put the brakes on it, going down the hill before Moss, and I really had kittens going down there. But in fact, apart from that, I talked quite a bit, probably far too much, but they'll have something to talk about. And I did catch quite a bit of the action as well, so it should be interesting.
Congratulations, and you're going to have a new car very soon.
I hope so, yeah, but I was overtaking the one that was out there that looked similar. I lapped it twice. It's a bit worrying. I think I'd rather stay in this one.
Congratulations again, Derek. Great ride.
Thanks. Thank you.
What great insight Derek Bell provided, and we're going to be getting insight like that from all of our Legends of Motorsports drivers in all of our SpeedVision GT Championship shows. Next one from Lime Rock, June 12th. It'll air at 4 p.m. Eastern. And we're watching that big off by Terry Lackey, Dorsey, and this first round had a little bit of everything.
Well, I tell you what, if all the races are as exciting as this race was with all this action, we're going to have a really good year. And, you know, Derek Bell said it. He almost had too much action. Any more action, he'd have a wrecked race car. He did a real good job today.
He certainly did. Look at this reaction here. Enough. We'll have to go to Lime Rock and pick it up again. Sure glad you were able to join us. For Dorsey Schrader and John Bizignano and Calvin Fish, I'm Greg Creamer. We'll see you next time right here on Speed Vision. Bye-bye.